What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, I wanted to look at the DEC that is currently on Hive, and the total circulation obviously is going down as we burn more and more. Now, we do have the proposal that is live for the DECB, which is soulbound. I did vote for it, made a separate video, so you can go check that out. But I wanted to know if burning 1.6 billion DEC would actually make an impact, because I would actually love that number to be much higher. I would love for there to be like 3 billion DECB or even up to 6 billion DECB, just so that we can clear everything out and really start the flywheel. There's the word of 2023. So looking at what we have currently, we got 6.2 billion DEC that is currently sitting on Hive in either the game or on Hive Engine or one of the accounts, right? So the way that I'm gonna break this math down, it's gonna be very rough, but 6.2 billion, you have we'll just call it 2.8 billion of that is currently sitting on Hive Engine. Now that includes liquidity pools. So I do want to pull up the Tribal Dex liquidity pools here, and you can see that the top two ones, so Swap.Hive and DEC, have about, we'll just call it 600 million, and then you have like 1.7 billion for DEC and SPS. And then there's just like a spattering of like 13 million here, another 5 million there. So overall, I'm going to round this up to, we'll say 2.4 billion that's currently sitting in liquidity pools. Now, can people remove it? Is it liquid? Technically, yes, it is. Again, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to assume that people are going to enjoy the yield that they're earning with the SPS that they're getting from that, and will continue keeping it in there, right? Now, they may bring it out if there's a purpose to maybe burn DEC, or maybe they want to trade on the market, and that could definitely, slow things down. But overall, 2.4 out of the roughly 2.8 billion DEC is sitting in liquidity pools as it currently stands. Now, when we take a look at the main bridges here, at least the ones that are run by the partners of the Team TerraBlock, you have about 450 million here for BSC, and about 200, we'll just say like 250 million for Ethereum. So in total, that's roughly 700 million that's sitting on bridges. Now, again, that can be moved around, and I think some of the DEC that was on TerraBlock BSC was actually taken out and used as part of what they put into the Hive pools over the weekend, or just at the end of the year. Because this, I believe, used to be either close to $1 billion or over $1 billion itself. But if there's not that much coming in from BSC anymore, then they don't need to have that much just sitting on the bridge, not doing anything, right? Sorry, it's not that it's not doing anything. They don't need that liquidity on the bridge. They're going to provide that liquidity on the Hive side. So if we take a look at that, and then these all look like team wallets here. So SMUSD, SL Cold, Steam Monsters, I don't know, we'll say 300 million, 250 million, 250 million. Again, this is between like 800 million right there, SL Market. We'll just call that a clean billion, right? That the team has of their own. Again, I know this is very, very rough, but let's add up all of that math and see where that leaves us. So if we have 6.2 billion DEC that is currently on Hive, the blockchain, not Hive Engine only, or Splinterlands the game only, but on Hive, we removed 2.4 billion because that is currently sitting in the Tribal Dex pools. So 6.2 minus, so what is that, 5.8, 3.8 billion is what we come down to. Then we take another billion, we take another 700 million from the bridges here, TerraBlock and ETH. There's even a Tron one here, which is really small, but that brings us from 3.8 billion down to 3.1 billion. And then if we take a look at all of the other team wallets here, again, this is, we'll just say 250, 250, we'll round up to 250, we'll round to 200. Again, that's probably about another billion. That brings us out to roughly 2.1 billion DEC that is currently sitting in either like player accounts, individual player accounts, or in player accounts on Hive Engine, for example, right? Because there's still a 400 million that's not accounted for and not in the Tribal Dex pools. So that actually makes me a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more bullish on this than I was before because, like I said, I want us to burn a ton of DEC. But if this is just an initial experiment, I do feel like there's a significant chance that the DECB can move the market, even if we don't, even if not all of it, for example, is done with DEC, some of it is done with vouchers. But if it is done all with DEC, that's 1.6 billion that we would burn like that, soulbound. That wouldn't be able to be traded on the market. That would be people investing in the long term for their accounts and within the game, essentially, right? Now, worst case scenario is that we get, what is it? I think 1.2 billion DECB can be bought with vouchers if all vouchers are burned. So that would still leave 800 million DEC that could be burned for the remaining DECB. Right. So in the worst case scenario, my worst case scenario is that vouchers are used up to the maximum, which I don't think is going to happen. But worst case scenario is that's what happens. Then we will see 800 million worth on roughly 800 million out of 2.1 billion, which again, that's more than a third of the liquid amount. I'd love to see more than that. But again, that would be like worst case scenario. I guess your worst case scenario, your apocalyptic scenario is that nobody buys into this. But as I've said, I do believe that there's going to be some immediate utility. I, for one, am planning to buy from my guild, and I'm sure many other guilds out there will see this as an immediate discount that they can get. So, to me, it makes a ton of sense, and that's why I'm voting for it. But overall, 2.1 billion is what we have just kind of floating around, circulating, and it seems that we can eat up anywhere between, I would say, 800 million to 1.6 billion out of that. Will that do enough to get us to peg? I don't think so. But will it do enough to get us to a newer baseline and a higher baseline, I should say? Because right now we're still sitting at like the, 0.005557. So I would love to burn a ton and for this to push up the, the price to a better place. Now, the other thing that's going to be interesting with this too, and I covered this in a separate video as well, is how much DEC is getting printed. Now, with the current reward cards that are in print, those can get us up to like another 500 million, probably more than that, DEC, if all of them get burned. But if the proposal that the team kind of discussed during the last town hall actually comes to pass of stopping the reward cards at the end of January when the soulbound ones go live, that cuts out a ton of future DEC inflation. The only printing that will happen at that point is the 7 million per season for leaderboards, so roughly 15 million per month. And if the team is trying to overhaul the leaderboard experience overall, which they said that they want to do, and we'll give them the first half of the year, right, for them to accomplish this by the summer, that's 15 million per month for 6 months, roughly 90 million. Again, I'm not saying that's insignificant, but in the grand scheme of things, it's better than like 500 million, right? It's not gonna change too much, hopefully, especially if the demand starts to pick up. Guild alliances, guilds, promo cards, all that fun stuff. So, and Rebellion, right? Rebellion could potentially be coming out by the end of, well, probably not by the end of Q2, but maybe early Q3. People will start to be accumulating DEC for Rebellion when it arrives. So that's really all I have for you guys in this video. Just wanted to cover how I'm viewing the DEC supply, what's currently circulating, what's currently not. Obviously, there's still a lot that needs to be burned through, but 2.1 billion is very different than 6.2 billion, right? So that's almost or about a third of that volume. I think if we can burn that 2.1 billion, it's going to go a long way. Even if we can burn just a fraction of that, it can go a long way. And if people like the DECB solution and want to see it used again or utilized again in the future, that'll be great. Another side of this too that I think could be very positive, and I know people don't like the vouchers causing some kind of inflation, but if voucher prices can start to recover and there can be other potential promo cards or use cases for vouchers, both with, what's that called? The promo card and with guild alliances. Again, we don't know any details, but we were told that, guild alliances could potentially be both voucher syncs as well as DEC syncs. Then having that come within Q1, maybe early Q2, is going to be great, right? Because we want to see voucher prices go up. We want to see DEC value go back to peg. So overall, I'm excited about this. Again, it's not going to change overnight, but I think the first month, the first 3 months, we'll give it even the first 6 months of the year, could shift a lot of things for Splinterlands overall in the Splinterlands economy. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.